are, back at the bench on a lovely, I don't know, was it June, mid-June day. Hot, not as bad as yesterday. Yesterday's humidity was stifling. Today is still very warm, but not brutal. Anyway, so we have our lockdown penguins still wearing their masks because our idiotic governor and mayor can't get their head out of their ass and just open up the city. You gotta live in fear, these people. Gotta project fear all the time. That's how they control you, is with fear. Anyway, I got this lovely karasu out, but I'm not going to do too much with this karasu. I just wanted to show it off. This is the back side of the stone. No kawa. It's just showing the spots through. And it's been sealed. And it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stone. When it gets wet, the colors really pop. And that's what we love about these karasu. Anyway, so I think I showed that in another video. I just like showing it off. The main thing for today is to show off this nice Coticule. So here's my regular size. This is what I use on a regular. I have an 8x3 too, but if I'm going to grab a Coticule, most of the time I'm going to grab this one. It's 130 by 70. This one happens to be a natural combo, but that doesn't really matter because I don't really use that. So that's my regular go-to. A couple others too, but a couple of guys asked me for longer stones. See, all right, so you have this little extra one. So this is like basically 7 by 2. Very nice stone. I got a few of these in. I don't do a lot of Coticule sales. I do mostly JNAS, but sometimes guys ask me for this stuff, so I pick up a few when I do an order because I got slurry stones in the store and this and that and the other thing. Anyway, so I want to show this off. I lapped this off. It used to have the Ardennes stamp down here. It's a Coticule made in Belgium, all that good stuff. And I figured I'd take one out. Yeah, it's easier with the wider edge. Anyway, so now we have a lot of slurry there. Now, the reason I made that much slurry is because the blade I'm going to throw on it, just for the sake of demo, is this old Tory, which is a half hollow, just about 6/8, and it has no edge. There's literally no edge on this thing. Well, not worth talking about anyway. So I just want to see what gives with this particular stone. I tested a couple others too. I had sold a bunch privately before I put them in the store, and just changed the white balance, color balance, exposure or something. It's my phone. I don't have a real camera for this, but I'm assuming you can see now anyway. Swarf. Now, people have a tendency to judge speed by the color of swarf. And there's premise there, but you have to be careful. Because just because swarf gets darker faster does not necessarily mean you've done more work, taken off more steel, and you have a faster stone. It could just be that combination, stone blade, and your style and slurry density, when the slurry suspends the particles from the steel that you're taking off the blade, when it suspends it better, the swarf gets darker, faster. It's more visible. And the more it suspends it, the more swarf it keeps up there. So the more you take off, the darker it's going to be. But sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes particles just sink to the bottom. And in that case, the slurry won't look so dark. So it's really hard to judge slurry, judge speed, just on that alone. You can use it as part of a cumulative process to figure out, which stone is faster, which one's taking more up. But you have to look. You have to use your eyes. You have to investigate. And even then, sometimes it's marginal and you can't tell. A lot of guys with Arkansas stone say this. Oh, it's faster on oil. No, the oil suspends more. You need to think your stone is faster because you used oil. Think about it. You reduced the friction coefficient, so the stone sped up. Come on. Maybe you just pressed harder. I don't know. Whatever. People want to believe whatever they want to believe. I know what happens here on my desk, on my bench. Anyway, this stone, nice. Honing sensation, very frozen butter stick kind of feeling, frozen chocolate kind of feeling. Very slight wispy grain in the background. Speed looks good. Not too fast. I mean, I wouldn't mind having, like a really speedy Coticule, but chances are it wouldn't be a great finisher, so it would only be for early and mid-range. And that would be fine if I wanted to have like this arsenal of Coticules, but well, I guess I already have an arsenal of them. It's just adding another one to the mix. I used to have a La Petite Blanche, and it was so fast you could set a bevel on like an eBay blade in like 15 minutes. Of course, you had to really work at it. If you were a brand new honer, that wasn't going to happen, but someone with skills could knock that out like boom, boom, boom. Stone was amazing, but it wasn't a great finisher. Yeah, this is a beautiful stone to hone on. Let's take a look at the edge, shall we? So, I wipe the swarf off. When you do this, be careful. Really careful. Make sure your thumb, the ball of your thumb, is sitting into the hollow on the blade and the tip is below the edge. Take a look. Nice. We cut some steel. Not a huge amount. And I have some light chipping in the edge on this one. So I can really see how much steel I took off, because those chips make like a benchmark for me. Yeah, toe is ragged. And then there's this larger chip back here. Bevel has a nice polish on it. Now, this is not a bevel setting stone. It's not that fast, but it's got good speed. It'll be a great finisher. Can tell by the way it feels. Just has that sensation under the blade. After a while, you're honing on these, you pick up on those feelings right away. And every now and then you get fooled, but fairly certain that this one's going to be a winner. So, like, what else is going on today? I had this out, which was on top of the Karasa when we started out. I want to get it wet. Really nice Elliot. Sheffield had a little bit of a conversation with someone on Facebook, like, a couple of sentences, not like we were talking heavily. But we're talking about makers that don't get talked about a lot. Everybody knows Wade and Butcher. Everybody knows Wolstenholme, and those are great blades, blah, 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 blah. But Elliot, you don't hear about too much. This is a great blade. It's great steel. And I got this. It was a little bit of a mess. The scales are solid, but a little jacked up, but not too bad. It's those scales where you can see there's no wedge. The wedge is made by the scales themselves. It's just kind of like notched out. Let me do my exposure balance again. Again, you can see in there the wedge is created by the scales themselves. There's no piece of metal, no lead, no actual wedge. So that's a little wonky. And sometimes I'll take this all apart to clean it, but I didn't want to bother on this one. It didn't look funky, but up here was just like a mess. Pulled the pin, took the blade out, the jimp, so you can see here they're reasonably clean now. They're still a little marked, but I'm never going to get that out. It's like just oxidized. I would have to cut into the steel to clear all of that out, and I'm just not that motivated. Same with underneath. But the gain is that the blade is completely clean, the pivot hole is completely clean and void of rust. It's all been oiled. The blade was set back in with pivot washers on the inside to keep things true. And new brass pin with, I think it's a 00 washer. I'm not sure. I just grab them out of the bag as I go along. And it's not a perfect match to this one, but it's not a total mismatch either. And it's got, I mean, it's a razor. I'm going to shave hair off my face and eventually probably sell it. Maybe I'll keep it forever. I don't know. But to me, these are tools, not jewels. So I don't get crazy about mixing and matching stuff. If I was really nuts, I'd just pull down here and replace that too. Because trying to match like a pin and washer from the 1800s is like, yeah, good luck with that. All right, but it's a great blade, a silver steel blade. Silver steel is just something that people would say. It's not really silver steel. Today, silver steel is actually tool steel, but back then there was an alloy, had silver in it, and a bunch of makers jumped on it using the terminology. Illicitly, their steel didn't really have silver in it. And or maybe there were a few blades like that, but even Faraday said he thought people were using the name erroneously. So there's that, but really nice blade. So if you're out there and you're looking for a Sheffield, just because you don't know the name, doesn't mean it's not a good blade. In this case, if you haven't heard of an Elliot, now you have. And if you see one, pick it up. They're great. Malarski, Jeffrey mentioned Feeney, great. Tally-hole blades, fantastic. You know, Tillotson, another great blade. I could go on and on. So you don't have to focus on just Wade and Butcher. That's like the main thing. All right, what's next? A couple of strop things. I did these, it's hard to show. I did these antique finish strops this summer. I did a handful of them. They literally take months for me to put together. There's a lot of work involved in making this. This isn't just I sat around and soaked it in like some kind of oil or some crap. These are like hand worked, all right? Every day I have 3 or 4 or 6 going at a time. Every day they get worked. Every day they get broken in. Every day they get edged. Every day they get burnished. Every day they have emollients pumped into them over and over and over again until I get to a certain look, and then I let it sit back. And as the emollients work in, the surface lightens up, and then I rework that so I have what has, you can see in there's a little movement and a little bit of patterning. All right, you can see that the edges are usually not so much on this one. Up here at the top, you can see that the edges are a little darker, emulating like heavy use. So it's kind of like a broken in look, but it's an honest thing. It's not just look, it's actually, it behaves that way. Main thing, one of the main things is this one. This is the last one. I'm not doing any more this year, and I might keep this because I've made so many of these. They sell in 5 minutes. I don't even have one for myself. This one is superlative. This is like an amazing piece. I put so much work into the edge on this because I tried a different series of burnishings and different materials to put on the edge to keep it where I want it. Because, you know, that's where the blade rides. And then there's the actual edge itself. And I don't like the edge of a strop to look like, I don't know, I don't want it to look like upholstery, and I don't want it to look like luggage, right? I like it to look a little bit rough, but I don't want it to be rough. Does that make sense? All right, so I work on this look and this finish myself. I'm not trained. I'm just kind of figuring it out as I go on my own. And it's the same on the back. You can see this is through and through. It's like no joke. My wife tells me I don't charge enough for these after she saw how much time I was putting into it. And I'm actually inclined to go along with her on that, but like how big of a price tag can I put on this? You know, it's like whatever. Then I got this loop handle at the end, which is, for me, this is how I use strops. I strop back and forth sideways. I don't strop with the, I can't show you on this little setup, but when I strop, I am going, like the strop is parallel to my shoulders, right? And I'm going back and forth this way. I am not going this way. I see a lot of people doing that thing that way, and it's like, it's so unnatural to me. It's like your arm wants to go up and down depending on how far away from you when you go side to side, like the old sharpening instructions. So anyway, I just want to show that off. This is a beautiful, beautiful piece of leather. Just if you held this, you'd be like, oh my God. It's the last one. I can't keep doing it. It just takes up so much time. And there's no room. I do this, you know, in an apartment in Brooklyn. It's not like I have a factory. Maybe I need to look into that, right? Anyway, and another thing I'm doing is these paddle strops. Well, here's the one I have for haze. Did I show you this? I probably did. All right. So basically, it's a slab of G10. I put a little bit of leather here, and the back is full leather, so I can strap on this entire surface back here if I want to. And I make this little sheath out of craft paper, and while it's not, you know, the most amazing material in the world, I think it's pretty cool. It goes along with my aesthetic. I just don't like bullshit, you know what I mean? Those strops with the puffy handles and the extra hardware and the stitching and I don't know, that shit looks like it's supposed to be in a whorehouse from the 1800s. I don't dig that stuff. I mean, look, if you're into it, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to insult you. I just like look at that stuff and like, nah, man, not me. I like things down and dirty, rough and ready. Proletariat, working man stuff. This is shaving, right? So here's another one, and this one's in mid condition. It's not ready to get done yet, but this is going to be a two-sided one. So I've cut the G10 differently, so I actually make a little bit of a paddle grip where the other one is just straight. So this is like a lot of extra work. I'm only going to do like 12 of these. Sold a couple already. I post them, they go. You know, it's like a boom. But this one's going to be double leather, and I'm going to refinish one side. So I have plain side and a leather velvet side. Really great strap. Really, really great paddle strap. This, well, when I do these, sometimes I put this felt on the other side. This felt is amazing as a substrate for purple haze. It's ridiculous. It's like perfect. Okay. Anyway, I made one of these. Jeffrey Malarski. His name's going to pop up again right now. He might recognize this. This is like my new travel fire hose strap. I've had a number of them, but I really don't need anything longer than this. I just throw it in my bag, and it's a little bendy, but it's loaded. It has a chunk of rubber on the inside that keeps it basically straight, so I can just pull this out of my bag and pop, 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 pop. And yeah, like this. Let me show you with a blade instead of my fingers. Boom, right? Done. I want to use the backside. Hear how it sounds different? That's a hint, folks. Anyway, so that's that. So I guess I shouldn't keep going on and on and on and on and on and on. Let me put my penguins back here. Let me just say a couple of words and then close out. Finish the third installation of the Chronicles. Hopefully there won't be a fourth, but if there is, so be it. It is what it is. Got my little penguins out here. They're all like ready to go outside and not get arrested or get sick. And in the meantime, we're just going to like hang out and have some fun honing here and there. Listen, you know, we got to do what we got to do. We got to make the best we can out of what we got. And right now, things are a little hard for some of us. But, you know, hey, I got some stones. I got some blades. I got some friends. I can go online, can talk about honing. My wife and I, we're going to have dinner. We're going to cook stuff later. Just make the best out of it that we can make out of it. But the honing has been carrying me through, so I suggest to everyone that's got blades and rocks, get your stones out and do some honing, have some fun. Remember, this really is all about having fun. All right? Take care. Talk to you soon.